The Bengals leave me wondering why I got out of bed at all. The purple rain clouds up my windows, and I can't see it all. And even if I could, we are not okay. But your picture's on my wall. It reminds me it's not so bad, it's not so bad. Hard to think where to start with this one. Do we point out the terrible offensive line play? They even let poor Brett Ripon get a sack. Jake Browning was getting eaten alive as well. Or should I point out our defense letting Carson Wentz throw for a 129 passer rating? This game, there's a lot of finger pointing to do. It's not even individual players either. This team broke down on every single level. I was interested in watching the defense for a portion of this game until I remembered that they can't keep up with a competent team for an extended period of time either. They let Jordan Mason get a season high on rushing this game. Was the pick six in the first quarter really bad? Yes. Did we lose the game on that? No. We cemented this loss in the second quarter with 3 straight fumbled possessions. Hard to say what did this. Did we cover our hands in butter in the second quarter? Was there some kind of solar flare? Did Ron Tolbert have something to do with this? All of these are currently under investigation by yours truly, but I'm too busy with a missing person case. Where is Chase Brown? This offense has only racked up 147 rushing yards in total this season. This is Chase Brown's third game in a row, averaging less than 3 yards a carry. And that statistic is bad enough, but this week Brown only averaged 0.3 yards over 10 carries. A foot a carry. Samaj Pirine tried to show him how it's done until he gave it away in the greatest fumble quarter of the year. Also, let's everyone give a warm welcome to Taj Brooks. Welcome to the jungle, Taj. We appreciate him holding on to the ball. Last week, I broke down the schedule to see how I think our matchups would be for the rest of the season with Jake Browning leading the offense. This week, I just want to break down, but that's not my style. So, let's take a hypothetical look around the league for new quarterbacks. Zach Taylor hasn't hinted at moving on from Browning, and personally, I don't think Browning is the one solely responsible for this loss. I do think it would be practical to find someone serviceable to put into the second string position and possibly even duel it out for the starting job while Joe is out of commission. So taking a little look around, I found Taylor Heineke, a free agent who threw for 3,700 yards as the starting quarterback in Washington in 2022. A favorite of mine, Case Keenum, third string quarterback for the Bears. During a starting stint for the Vikings, he led them to an NFC championship in 2017. And then, of course, Andy Dalton, second-string quarterback for Carolina, starred with the Bengals for 9 seasons. I wouldn't mind seeing him back in stripes. My goal is to be realistic here. I don't think we should go for someone like Kirk Cousins, as the Falcons are asking a high price with his already high contract cost. The front office is not going to go for that, especially with the possibility of Joe coming back later in the season. So far, this is our floor for the season. We came out here and got absolutely beat. Looking forward, if we continue like this next week, something needs to change. The Bengals organization has done all it can when it comes to offensive personnel. The pieces are here, but why aren't they working? And I'm starting to look towards the top. The coaching staff that took us to a Super Bowl is pretty much gone. Zach Taylor's seat needs to be getting warm by the higher-ups to be better prepared for these matchups. I don't think this season is done for, not quite. We fumbled this game. There are 14 more games to come this season, so let's take a look ahead to next week. I'm honestly worried that the Broncos are going to kick our butts. This will be their first game at home since week 1 where they beat the Titans. That was also the only game that they've won so far this season. They lost 2 weeks in a row on the road to AFC opponents. From most of what I've seen is that the Broncos were supposed to take a step forward this year, but there seems to be some hiccups. You may remember Bo Nix from last season, when he came to Cincinnati and nearly mounted a victory to secure a playoff spot and kick Cincinnati out of the hunt. He is unfortunately starting this year in a little bit of a slump. The most he's passed for is 206 yards, and he has already thrown 3 interceptions. That's why my first point I want to make is to keep the receivers smothered and make Nix wait to get his shot. His target percentage has dropped precipitously this year, going from 77% to 57%. He also has an above league average time in the pocket and gets the ball out in an average of 1.7 seconds. Dobbins is continuing to progress in Denver. Slowing him down will be important as well, as our rushing defense is the 11th worst in the league. Speaking of rushing defenses, Denver has the 12th worst rushing in the league. We need to make a concerted effort to establish the run this week. We have been doing nothing on the ground, with the league lowest in rushing yards so far this season. We will need to implement Taj Brooks and Chase Brown in tandem if we have any hope in winning. Lastly, we need to keep the trenches clear and allow for Browning not to be hurried and ruin the play. As of week 3, the Broncos have blitzed the second most in the league, about a quarter of the time on defensive snaps. They are top 3 in pressures, quarterback knockdowns, and sacks as well. This needs to be a proving ground for this offensive line. If they are unprepared for what's to come here, we're not going to get much further into the season. I don't know how, but the Browns have the most impressive win in the AFC North so far. The Browns sacked Love a combined 5 times, picked him off, and then Andre Schmidt makes the game-winning kick at a career high of 55 yards. Enjoy this win, Cleveland. You deserve it. The Steelers tried as much as they could to lose to the Pats, but unfortunately, New England just wanted that loss more. Multiple block kicks this week. The Jets used theirs to try and get the win late in the game against the Buccaneers, but the Eagles kept pushing themselves until they could finally devastate the Rams on the final play. The Falcons were almost competing with the Bengals for the worst performance this week, and they may have, putting in Cousins late in the game. And now, for a preview of the biggest SEC matchup of the week. Both teams have a lot to prove. How can this SEC powerhouse defend against a premier rival in prime time? Oh, you think I was talking about Bama at Georgia? Nah. It's Kentucky, South Carolina week. South Carolina is starting to slide. After being blown out by Vanderbilt, they lost on the road to a now-ranked Missouri. The Gamecocks had a terrible run game last week, with a total of -9 yards total against Mizzou. If we can ride on their coattails and continue to suppress the run, the Mark Stoops pass defense has a real chance here. South Carolina's defense has also allowed for 1,385 yards so far this season. Kentucky has a chance here to do something and put up an argument that they're better than what Vegas thought. Let's just hope and pray that the Cats can do it. Thank you all so very much for watching. If you liked this video, drop a like. If you disagree with something I said or think some other sort of way, leave a comment for what you think. And lastly, subscribe to Big Lex for more weekly football videos. I'll keep doing my thing, and I'll see you next week.
I just want to say, dream big, shoot for the stars, stay focused, never give up.